I think now would be a good time to look at the details of these arguments under the scrutiny of the questioning of the justices. In his questioning, Justice Thomas brought out an interesting point.
In its introduction of its brief, Colorado says that the only thing that the law prohibits therapists from doing is performing a treatment that seeks the predetermined outcome of changing a minor's sexual orientation or gender identity because the treatment is unsafe and ineffective.
Colorado claims their law prohibits treatments that seek a predetermined outcome, but only if that outcome is to change a minor's sexual orientation or gender identity. They claim that talk therapy is only dangerous if it tries to effect such a change, regardless of whether that is the desire of the individual or not. While there was some wiggling by Ms. Stevenson, I think Justice Alito got to the point.
So in the first situation, an adolescent male comes to a licensed therapist and says he's attracted to other males, but he feels uneasy and guilty about those feelings. He wants to end or lessen them, and he asks for the therapist's help in doing so. The other situation is a similar adolescent male comes to a licensed therapist, says he's attracted to other males, feels uneasy and guilty about those feelings, and he wants the therapist's help so he will feel comfortable as a gay young man. It seems to me your statute dictates opposite results in those two situations based on the viewpoint expressed. One viewpoint is the viewpoint that a minor should be able to obtain talk therapy to overcome same-sex attraction if that's what he or she wants, and the other is the viewpoint that the minor should not be able to obtain talk therapy to overcome same-sex attraction, even if that is what he or she wants. Looks like blatant viewpoint discrimination.
I agree. That does sound like blatant viewpoint discrimination. The same person going to the same therapist is allowed different treatment based on the outcome the person desires. This is where Ms. Stevens tries to wiggle around the facts a bit.
As I heard your examples, I think they would both be permissible because it didn't sound like in either case the goal was to actually change sexual orientation. And again, that's the touchstone because that's where the harms come from.
Well, wait. Isn't wanting to end or minimize same-sex attraction an attempt to change sexual orientation? What if someone is heterosexual but has unwanted same-sex feelings? Wouldn't encouraging them to feel comfortable as a gay young man be changing their sexual orientation? Mr. Campbell reinforced this point in his rebuttal.
This law's viewpoint discrimination is even worse than we've heard so far this morning because the state of Colorado would allow a 12-year-old without their parents' consent to enter into counseling that would go the opposite way on these issues of gender identity and sexual orientation. But if that same 12-year-old with their parents' consent want to seek counseling in the opposite direction, the kind that my client would provide, they are not able to do that. That kind of viewpoint discrimination must survive strict scrutiny.
Then Alito opens an interesting door regarding standard of care.
Your argument depends very heavily on the standard of care, which I take it is defined by a medical consensus. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Except, as I've already shown, standard of care is not a medical term, but a legal one. It's determined by legislatures and agencies, not doctors. And history has shown that the term medical consensus is often used when no consensus exists.
Have there been occasions, the medical consensus is usually very reasonable and it's very important, but have there been times when the medical consensus has been politicized, has been taken over by ideology?
We have no facts about that in this case, but I wouldn't disagree that that's possible.
Yeah, that's possible. Recent history has shown that this alleged medical consensus has not only been politicized, but absolutely wrong. The medical consensus was that the COVID-19 vaccines were safe and effective, but actual medical research has brought into question their very safety. Seeing how many prominent people who were fully vaccinated yet got COVID proves it was not effective. So we not only have viewpoint discrimination, but the false statement that it's based on the standard of care being medical consensus, when in reality it's a legal term used by political bodies.